Hey bestie, welcome back to my channel. This is a detailed tutorial on how to make this gown you are seeing currently on the screen. From pattern drafting to the sewing, you are going to be learning everything in this video. If this is your first time on my channel, you're welcome. Please like, comment, subscribe and share. And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you so much. Let's go together to make this. So here is how to cut the pattern of the dress we are seeing beside this video. We are going to be taking our shoulder line, which is guideline. We first take the guideline, which is half an inch that I first took, okay, and I mark it. That will serve as my shoulder line. Then after which I'm going to place my shoulder measurement, okay. The shoulder measurement I'm working with, we are working for a year-old baby girl, is 4.5 inches, okay. I'm taking 4.5 inches as my shoulder line, and the wideness of the neck I use is 2 inches, and the depth is 2.5. Like as you can see the style, there is a collar there, okay. So I took 2 inches for the wideness, and I took 2.5 for the depth, okay. And I'm taking 0.75 for my shoulder slope, and I will mark it directly to the wideness of my neck, okay. So after which I'm going to go ahead and take the half length, the shoulder to the waist of the baby we are working for. The shoulder to the waist of the baby we are working for is 9 inches, and I added 1 inch sewing allowance, which is 10 inches, okay. So I mark 10 inches across my paper, and I also mark my shoulder, my armhole line, which is 5 inches, okay. I take my armhole line, which is 5 inches, and I mark it at that place as well to make my line to be accurate. So it's just 3 lines that is vertical we are taking here. The half length, which is 10 inches plus sewing allowance, and the armhole line, which also serves as my chest line, which is 5 inches. So I'm going to be taking my armhole line now. I just repeat my shoulder 4.5 in that place to make my armhole line to be accurate. So after which I'm going to take the half of that armhole line to take the curve of my armhole. Okay, the half of that armhole line is 2.5, and I went in by 0.25 in order to take the curve of my armhole. So I will enter my chest line first. The chest I'm working with is 10. 20 divided by 4 will give me 5 inches, and I added 1 inch allowance to it. I be 0.5 allowance to it. That's its allowance. That's 5.5. So I enter 5.5 like that, okay, as my chest line, and I connected my armhole together. So the waist I'm working with also is 20 divided by 4 will give me 5, and I put half an inch, that is 5.5 inches. So after that, I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance directly to the paper. The sewing allowance is 1.5, okay. So I place 1.5 at the chest line, and I place 1.5 at my waistline, and I will go up at that waistline by 1 inch to curve the end part of the gown because of the bodice, because we are not putting that, so we need to curve it 1 inch at that place, okay, because we are not putting that. So I curve it in by 1 inch at that hem line, that waistline. So the next we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking the neck, that yoke side of the dress we are seeing, that yoke side. I want my own to enter the armhole. I don't want my own to go to the shoulder. Like we are seeing here, the thing go to the shoulder, okay. The yoke go directly to the shoulder, okay, but I want my own to be at the armhole, not at the shoulder. So I will just go up at that half of my armhole. I will just go up by 1 inch at that half of my armhole. I went up by 1 inch, and I will connect it directly to the chest line, okay. I will connect it directly to the chest line. If you don't want your own to be down, you can go up by 1 inch at your chest line, and you connect it to that place. And if you want your own to enter the shoulder, you can just see it. You can just go up by 2 inches or by 3 inches to connect it to your chest line. But I want my own to stop at the armhole, to be at the armhole line. So from my half of my armhole, I went up by 1 inch, and I cut it out. So I'm cutting it out for the front out first. We are going to use it to cut out the back, okay. So we are not going to be cutting out the neck line yet until we use it to cut our back, okay. So I'm going to place it on a fresh paper to cut out the back panel for us so that we can know after cutting out the back panel, we are going to be trimming out the neck line. Okay, so I'm going to be trimming out the neckline. So you can see I left 1 inch for my zipper allowance. I left 1 inch. You can leave up to like 1.5 or 2 inches in your own, but I left 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Okay, and I will go ahead and trim it out like you are seeing me doing. I'm trimming the back out as well. So I'm just trying to trim out the shoulder. Okay, I'm trimming out the shoulder, and we are going to be placing the back neck. Okay, the back neckline. So to do that, I want my yoke to be at the same point, the back and the front. That was the why I want to place it and cut it together. So we are going to be coming down by 0.75 or by 1 inch for the depth of the back neck. Okay, like I said, it's going to have a collar, so I just came down by 1 inch, and I will the same wideness, which is 2 inches, 2 inches by 1 inch for the back, and 2 inches by 2.5 for the front. Okay, so I will go ahead now and first cut out the back neckline as you are seeing me. So I will cut out the back neckline before I will cut out the front. The front neckline is still there. I've not cut it out. I first cut out the back, okay, and I will use it to cut out the yoke first. So I want that V to be accurate. So I will cut the V like that. And I would do my V like that, okay. That's just the zipper line. Oh, I mark the zipper line. The front is still laying together with the back, okay. You can see the back at the down part. So what I want to do now, I don't want my yoke, the zipper to enter my yoke. Like you know that we are using net for the yoke, okay? So I don't want my yoke, the zipper to enter the yoke. So I'm going to be cutting out the zipper allowance for the yoke, okay? I will put hook and eye at the neck. Okay, I'm not using zipper. My zipper will stopped at the bodies at that half length before that chest line. Okay, it will not enter the yoke. That is what I'm just trying to tell us. It will not enter the yoke. My zipper will not enter the yoke. You can see me, I'm cutting out the zipper of that yoke. I'm cutting it out. You can leave up to like 0.5 inches to just turn up the net at that place. Okay, I'm going to be putting hook and eye, like that one that look like bra hook. I'm going to be putting it on that. So I want to go ahead now to cut out. Okay, I just trim out the zipper line. Okay, and I'm cutting out the V, that yoke. I'm cutting it out as you are seeing me. Okay, so I have my front and my back panel now. I will label it so that I will not misplace it. Okay, that's my back, and I'm going to cut. I just trim out the zipper line. Okay, so don't forget that I've not trimmed out my neckline for the front. Okay, so please trim your own out immediately. So that is the yoke for the back and the back bodies. So I will go ahead now and label my front as well. Okay, that's the front. And I'm cutting out the neck of my yoke, my front yoke. I'm cutting out the neck now. So we are going to be cutting it on fold. We are going to be cutting all the front panel on fold, and we are going to be cutting the back panel 2 times. We are going to be cutting 2 of this paper for the back panel, on fold for the front panel. So here we are with our pattern. We are done cutting out our pattern. Okay, so we go ahead now and use it to cut the fabric. I'm just trying to tell you how it's going to lay very well. Okay, you can see my zipper is going to stop at that place. My zipper is going to stop at that place. Okay, so I'm going to be using hook and eye for the neck, for the collar side. Okay, so here is our fabric that we are using. I'm going to be using brocade fabric and doll face for the lining. Okay, this is my matching zipper, and this is my skein net, the original. We are using the original skein net for this, and this brocade is 2 years. I bought 2 years of brocade. The door face for a year old baby, you can use 1.5 yard. Okay, depends on how full you want your lining to be. If I'm working for baby, I always want my lining to be full. Okay, so here we are going to be cutting out the skirt part. Okay, and to cut out this skirt part, I want my flay to be full. I want to pleat it. I want it to have a box pleat inside. And to do that, I'm going to be multiplying the waist I have by 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to multiply it by 3 inches and divide it by 6.28. I have my own 60 inches, and after I divided it by 6.28, the answer I got was around 9.5. I approximated it to be 10 inches. Okay, so the radius I'll be taking out now will be 10 inches. If you don't want your own to be full, if you don't want to pleat it, you can go ahead with the normal waist, which is 20 divided by 6.28. But my own normal waist, I multiply it by 3. I multiply it by 3 before I divided it by 6.28, and I got 10 inches approximately. And the length I'm working with is 18 inches. 18 plus 10, that will give me 28. And at the end of the day, I added 1 inch sewing allowance, 2 inches sewing allowance, because I'm going to be adding 1 inch crinoline at the hem line. So I have 30 inches. So I'm going to take 30 inches round. If this place is not clear to you, let me know in the comment section so that I can do the calculation on the paper so that it can be clear to you. So I'm going to be taking 30 inches round. 30 inches. I'm taking 30 inches round after I folded my fabric into 4. Okay. At the close side, I'm taking my 30 inches round. That is the length, the radius plus the length, 30 inches. The radius I'm working with is 10 inches, and the length 18 plus 2, that will be 20. 20 plus 10 will give me 30. Okay, so after which I'm going to be taking now my radius, which is 10 inches. And you should know why I got 10 inches. My waist multiplied by 3 divided by 6.28 gave me 9.5, and I approximated it to be 10 inches. So I'm taking out 10 inches for my radius now. So after which I'm going to be cutting it out. Like I said, if you don't understand this, please let me know in the comment section so that I can do the explanation better on the paper. So after cutting this, I'm cutting it out right now. Okay. So this is what we have here. You can see how full it is, very full. Like I said, if you don't want your own to be this full, multiply your waist by 6.28. Multiply your waist by 6.28. But myself, I multiply divide your waist by 6.28. Don't multiply it by 3. So here I've gone ahead to cut the upper part. I've cut my yoke, and I've gone ahead to cut the bodice as well. I use brocade fabric for the bodice, while I use net for the yoke. Okay, so this is my fabric here. I cut the fabric, I cut the lining, and I cut the hairstay. Okay, I'm going to be putting the hairstay on the fabric, and I'm going to be putting the hairstay on the lining as well. I want it to be stable, and I want it to have a rich look. Okay, so I'm putting hairstay both the fabric and the lining. Same thing at the back. I'm putting the hairstay on both the fabric and the lining. So I'll go ahead now and iron and gum all the hairstay or where necessary, and I will give it to us. Tell us the next thing to do. Okay, so I will join the yoke. I will also join the back yoke as well. So I've gone ahead to cut the lining as well for the door face for the lining. Okay, like I said, this is the skirt lining, but I did not multiply this one by 3. I just used the waist, 20 inches divided by 6.28, and I think I used 5 for this. I used 5, and I used 18 inches normal length. I did not add any allowance to the net, to the down part. So here I'm done adding the hairstay to my fabric. Okay, so I've gone ahead to add the hairstay to the fabric. So this is the yoke now. I've gone ahead to sew the yoke together as well. You are not turning the neck because we are going to use the collar to turn the neck, but you just have to sew it to make it stable. So I've sewn my own, and I'm using my pin to pin it down. Okay, I'm going to pin it down at the neck, the middle point of that center front. I will sew it like that, and I will take my lining. I will use my lining to cover all the sewing. I will use it to turn it inside. Okay, So that is what I have here. And for the back panel, I'm going to be placing the yoke as well, like I did for the front. I'm going to be placing the yoke on it, and I will use the lining to turn it inside as well. But I will not be closing the zipper side because we want to do the knit finishing for our zipper, okay? We want to do the knit finishing for our zipper. So I will just sew the neck alone, and I will leave the zipper side. I'm not closing the zipper side, okay? So this is after the joining. This is what I have, okay? So I've gone ahead to join it like so, okay? You can see, and I've given it a good press. I've already pressed it. I will join my shoulder like that. I will join my shoulder. Then after joining my shoulder, I'm going to be closing the side. Okay, I'm going to be closing this. I normally do lining to lining and fabric to fabric anytime I'm sewing, especially for children like that. So I normally like do the knit finishing inside. Like I said, I'm using waist chest 20 for this project, and I'm using waist 20. So I'm going to use my measurement divided by 2. Now I'm going to use my measurement now to take to sew my side. Okay, you use your own measurement to do your side. So I will do, like I said, I will do fabric to fabric and lining to lining. So here I've joined the shoulder and actually brought it back for us to take the collar, okay? And in doing the collar, I'm going to be measuring my neck. After joining my shoulder, I'm going to be measuring my neck, all the neck I have, the neck from the first back to the second back. I measure everything together, and I have 13 inches, okay? So I'm going to be cutting this on bias, okay? You don't forget that we have flame. We cut out the skirt on flay, okay? So we have the remaining parts that look like bias form, okay? We have your own as well. So I'm using bias form to cut out the coffee side, to cut out this collar, okay? It's good to always cut it out on bias form, or you draft it out normal. But if I want to use freehand, I want to use freehand for this. You don't need to, you cannot cut it. If you cut it on straight form, it will not close, it will not lay flat on the neck, okay? So I'm using 2 inches. I will use 1 inch for the collar, so half an inch for sewing. So 13 inches is the length of my collar. I'm marking 13 inches by 2 inches. The wideness is 2 inches, while the length is 13. You measure your own neck round to know the length of your own. My own is 13, and I'm using 2 inches. And after the end of the day, I think I got like 1.25 that is left as the collar for me. It's not even up to 1.5. Okay, so I will go ahead and cut it out now. Then after cutting, I'm going to be putting stay on one side. Okay, I'll put the stay on one side, and I will fold one side in. Okay, so I will still do it. I will after cutting now, I will go and put the stay on it, and I will bring it for us to see. I'm just trying to trim this place off. Okay, so I'll bring it for us to see. After I put the gum stay, I will close the neck. I'm going to sew the neck. Okay, the neck is where that is cuff. That deep cuff is the neck side. Okay, so at that down side, that down one is where we are going to sew on the neck. Okay, so I've gone ahead to put the stay, and I've sewn the upper part which will lay on the neck. Okay, I've sewn it. So the down side, we are going to take one. I normally sew from inside to outside. Okay, inside to outside. So I will place it. I'm just trying to place it to cross check what I have. And like I said, I normally sew from inside to outside. We are going to place it on top of the neck and sew it like that when you sew one. But try and use the what is it called, the hemi gum, to fold it in 0.25. Fold in is 0.25. So I'm done joining my fabric, my neck, okay, my collar. I decided to add belt to this. I know we should all know how to add belt. So I just cut a long strip of a fabric, okay, and I just sew it. I attach it, like I think I used 24 inches. The length is 24 inches by 2 inches, okay. So you can see I've joined lining to lining and fabric to fabric, and I've put my collar as well. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to be adding skirts okay, the skirt, the down part to the bodice, okay. So we take it, when we're adding the down part as well, we're going to go fabric to fabric and lining to lining. So I notch the midpoint of my skirt and I notch the midpoint of my bodice as well on the fabric, okay. So now to make it, what we cut is 3 times our waistline, and I want to do the box split. So I will have the box split inside. Okay, I will form the key split. Let me call it like that. I will have the key split. The key split is going to be forming, is going to be doing the key splitting will be inside. Okay, so when the thing come out, it will be in form of box, not in form of key splitting. Key split. I don't know whether you understand my English. So I will kiss it inside and it will form a box outside. If you look at the picture very well, that is what they did. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to do here. I'll first pin it. I will kiss it like, let me say like I put it like 1.5. Okay, I'm pleating like 1.5 to kiss each other. Okay, so this I pick this one to kiss this one now. Okay, and I will pin it down. So another one will face, another plate will face the other side. Okay, another one will face the other side. Just watch me what I'm doing. Okay, another one will face the other side. Just watch me closely, please. And you can rewatch this, please. The first one will face outside. Will I call it outside? Yes, outside. While the second place will face inside. Okay, will face in so that it can form the kiss. I don't know that you understand me. Okay, just watch me closely. So this is another one that I'm doing. Okay, and I'm doing this. No, this one doesn't have. I think I did 2 at the back, 3 at the front, and 2 at the other back. That's like 7 that I did. Just watch what I'm doing. It's not hard, but if you don't understand, let me know. I can actually use paper to explain what I did here perfectly. So I will go ahead now, take it to sewing machine and sew it. And afterwards, I'm going to be taking the skirt lining as well to sew this place. Okay, this is my lining. This is my skirt lining. You should understand me. Okay, this is the down lining. So I will attach it to the lining of the upper bodice as well. You will pleat. You can do that one random pleating. Okay, it's inside, so you can do it random pleating. So I will go ahead to the sewing machine now, and this is what I have here. You can see it's form box outside. Okay, and this is inside. This is my inside. Okay, so the next thing we are going to be doing, I'm using tissue net for the line, for the add there, for the how will I call it, for the volume, to make it look for the add fullness. Okay, let me call it that way. For the fullness, you can use add net, but I'm actually using tissue net because the owner doesn't actually want me to use add net. So I'm using tissue net. I bought tissue net 5 years, and that 5 years, by length, by length is 5 years, by wideness normally come by 60. Okay, so I will fold it in form of that by 60, and I will cut it 3 places. So I have 5 years in 3 places. That's 15 years, and I'm going to place it on top of each other and gather it. So I've done the gather, I've attached it to the lining side. Okay, you will come down by 1 inch at your lining side. You will come down by 1 inch at your lining side, and you will attach it. So I've done my own. I've added the zipper as well. If you don't know how to add this zipper, you can let me know in the comment section. I will direct you to my where I explain better fully on how to do that zipper. Okay, so this is what we have here. You can see the inside. This is the net. I attach that net to the lining side. Okay, to the lining skirt. That is where I attach the net. Okay, and it's looking very beautiful. You can see I came down by 1 inch before I attach that net. Okay, and that is making it to look very puffy inside. Okay, and I don't forget I said I use 1 inch crinoline. Okay, I use 1 inch crinoline to do the hemline of my gown, and this is what we have. Thank you so much for watching this sleeve. If you don't, I don't want to put the tutorial of the sleeve there, it will be too long, but I will put it separately so you can watch it if you don't know how to cut it. Thank you. Please subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.